Are you late to class all the time? Are red lights stopping you from turning in your late work and you simply don't have any restroom passes to spare? Well, we've got you covered with Savannah's Insurance.
Okay, question number 1. Which is a factor of 3x cubed plus 5x squared minus 27x minus 45? Select all that apply. So first thing I'm going to do is see if there's any greatest common factor, and there is, but I also I don't see a greatest common factor between all of these 3, 5, 27, and 45. But I can count the number of terms, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one you're going to have to do factoring by grouping. Factor by grouping. Remember, there's 2 choices here. You can use the box method. Let's do that part right now. So remember here, I'm going to try to go in a Z. So I have 3x cubed positive 5x squared minus 27x and minus 45. Alright, in this method I'm trying to find the GCF of this column here going up and down, and I think it's 3x. And then the row going in this direction, the GCF is x squared. And then this one is going to be a minus 9. And this one will be a positive 5. I'm going to check my answer by multiplying. 3x times x squared gives me 3x cubed. X squared times 5 gives me 5x squared. 3x times negative 9 gives me negative 27x. And negative 9 times positive 5 gives me negative 45. Okay, so let's here in green, these are my answers, but let's write this out. 3x plus 5 and x squared minus 9. Now if you notice, x squared minus 9 is not any of the choices for number 1 because you have to add a placeholder. And when you do that, here in green, you're going to have to factor again. So this would be, a times c would be negative 9. My b value would be 0. My 2 numbers are 3 and negative 3. Okay, so this would leave us with 3x plus 5 and x plus 3, x minus 3. Is our answer. So here is my answer. Remember question number 1, I changed it to which one is not a factor. So x plus 3, that is a factor. X minus 3 is a factor. 3x plus 5 is a factor. This one is not a factor. So the correct answer is C. Alright, last week's quiz had 9x squared minus 30x plus 25, but you'll notice I just removed that. So yours is 9x squared plus 0x minus 25. You can do the x in the box, or you can do this by chunking. A times c, negative 225. Your b value is 0. You'll get 15 and 15. 1 positive, 1 negative. Okay, so to put this back in, you go 9x squared. These are splitting the middle term, so that would be 15x and a negative 15x. And negative 25 goes in the bottom there. And then you'll just factor out here, so that would be a 3x times 3x gives you 9x squared. Minus 5 plus 5. So your answer is 3x plus 5 and 3x minus 5. If you did the same problem by chunking, you're going to figure out, what can you put in here, and that'll be 3x. So this one you could do a 3x minus 25. And then pick your favorite letter like W. w squared plus 0 times w minus 25. Can put that in there. So 1 times negative 25 is negative 25. B value is 0. 5 and negative 5. So you'll get w plus 5. W minus 5. Then put that back in. 3x plus 5. 3x minus 5. That would give you the answer of A.
Question number 3. Which of the following expressions are examples of either the sum and difference of cubes? Mark all that are an example of the sum of cubes or the difference of cubes. Okay, so it's kind of like multiple choice. A couple things that you need to remember. You could just write out the formula. I'll write them out really quickly for you. The sum of cubes is just a plus b cubed, and this is where I'm going to write it out, is my SOAP. Okay, so, and then I'm going to highlight this symbol so you can see it. S stands for same, opposite of positive, which is negative, and AP, which is always positive. Okay, and that SOAP actually applies to the other one as well, so let's just fill that out. So AB, A squared, AB, B squared. Let's do that for this one over here. Now we're going to have a minus sign, so A minus B cubed equals, what's the same? A, same is minus. Opposite of minus is a plus, and then plus. Okay, so it's just a formula you have to memorize. But SOAP's actually going to be in here. Watch this. It doesn't tell us how to start, but I can just eliminate problems based off of SOAP. Okay, let's write out SOAP. Same, opposite, always positive. Okay. Look at this one. If this starts as a positive, then this one has to be a minus, but it's not, so we're not picking that one. Okay. Okay, so I have same, so positive, opposite, always positive. That one works. Okay, let's look at the next one. Same, opposite. Are these opposites? No, so wrong. All right, question number 4. If you're looking at your flow chart, you're always looking for first the GCF, okay? So, whoops, does this problem have a GCF? Well, you can break them into factors. That box is probably not big enough. What are the factors of 405 x to the 4th? Well, I'm going to look ahead and not cheat, but think ahead. 5, and then how many times does 5 go into 40? That is 8. And how many times does 5 go into 5? Goes in once. And then negative 5x squared is negative 1 times 5 times x squared. I'm going to circle the things they have in common. So that is a 5. And they also have x squared. Okay, what did we not circle? So 81 x squared. And then over here, you just have that negative 1. So 5x squared is my GCF, and then I have this one here. Okay, you'll notice they'll try to trick you with this one. I don't think that is the correct one, but I did leave a big space because I know it's going to be a difference of squares. Okay, I'll show you the shortcut after I do it the long way. I put a 0x in there because half of 2 is 1. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to factor what's inside the... We're going to factor what... That's not an x. We're going to factor what's inside there in yellow. Okay, let's do that together. You could also use the chunking method here, but A, B, C. A times C is negative 81. My B value is 0. My two numbers are going to be 9 and negative 9. 9 and negative 9. We are splitting this one so that has an X there. In the top left will always go the whole A term. And the C term always goes in the bottom right. Alright, so GCF going this direction is a 9x. GCF in this direction is a minus 1. Guys like purple? This direction, I think it is going to be a positive 1, and this direction will be a positive 9x. So, from, let's choose green here. (9x minus 1), 9x plus 1 is going to be our answer. Okay, so which is the factor? That means it's only going to be one of these. And I see that in B. So B is our answer because it's that one right there. Okay? How do you do this problem with this portion right there with the shortcut? If it's called the difference of squares, because if you can take the square of each side, square root of 81 is 9, and the square root of x squared is x. So how that works is you'll put 9x, 9x, and the square root of 1 is 1, and then you'll just make 1 plus 1 minus. And so this is the same thing as what we did in the both x in the box. So a different method. It's hard to figure that one out when you kind of see it. You can take the subtraction sign and then they're both squares. Okay, number 5, factor this one. It's a trinomial, 1, 2, 3. And what is half of 4? It is 2. So I can just use my X box method of factoring. But remember now, if you just use a equals 1 is just for the x, and you need both the x and the box if a is greater than 1. Okay, so in this problem, a is 1, it's right there, b is 2, and c is negative 24. So I don't need the box, I could just, but it'll help you understand why I got the answer, okay? So a times c is negative 24, b value is 2. What are the two numbers that multiply to be negative 24, but they add to be 2? I'm thinking of 6 and 4, and this one will be a negative. Okay, remember those numbers in red. I'm going to use this in the box. We don't have to, but the box, the red, is splitting this term, so I have to add a x squared. 6x squared minus a 4x squared gives you a 2x squared. Okay? And then top left, we're going to put always the a term, and the c term always goes in the bottom right. We're just going to take out the greatest common factor. That's going to be an x squared. Greatest common factor. I'm thinking 6 here, and I'm happy with that for now. Let's pick a different color I haven't used. How about orange? This direction is going to be an x squared. Greatest common factor, I think it'll be a negative 4. Alright, let's double check our answer here. X squared times x squared equals x to the 4th. X squared times negative 4 is negative 4x squared. X squared times 6 gives us 6x squared, and 6 times negative 4 gives me negative 24. Okay, why did I say in red you didn't need that? Well, look here. X squared plus 6, hold on, sorry, I missed that. plus 6, you see that? You can just put it there. And the other one is going to be x squared minus 4, which is up here. All right, a little tricky in this problem. You have to do it again. You still have to start recognizing the difference of squares. If you don't, put a placeholder of 0x, and then when you factor that, that one's just going to be x plus 2, x minus 2.
This was a common mistake for students to solve question number 5, x squared plus 6. You're going to set it equal to 0. And then I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. Remember, there's two x's here, x, so if I take the square root, then I have x equals the plus or minus the square root of negative 6. The square root of negative 6 we learned earlier this year is the square root of negative 1 times the square root of 6. Square root of negative 1, that comes out, that's called I. And you have plus or minus. So one solution is x equals I radical 6. The other one is x equals negative I radical 6.
Factor completely. And this is a trinomial. There's 1, 2, 3. Okay, pay attention here. What's half of 5? Is it 3? The answer is no. Which means you can't use Xbox yet. No Xbox. Okay. What does that mean? You should always use GCF first. So again, you can do a strategy. I'm just going to place it in a big box with 3 bins because I have 3 times x times x times x times x times x, and 2 times 5 times x times x times x, and 7 is 7 times x. Do they have anything in common? They have 1x. So my GCF is x. And then what's left is this, 3x to the 4th plus 10x squared plus 7. Let's write that. So now I have this. Alright, let me highlight this with yellow. That is a trinomial. Half of 4 is 2 with the exponents there. Now I can use my Xbox method of factoring. In this problem, I have to use both. So again, we're looking there in the highlighted yellow, A, B, C. So A times C is 21. My B value is 10. My two numbers that multiplied to be 21 are 7 and 3. And 7 plus 3 is 10. So I have 7 and 3. This is splitting this term right here, so I have to add an x squared. The first term always goes here, and the last term always goes right here. Let's go ahead and find out our GCF here. GCF going in this direction is x squared. Okay, this one doesn't look like anything, but I'm going to put plus 1. Plus 1. And this direction, 3x squared. That's a 2. And this direction, plus 7. Let's double check our answers, seeing if we can just multiply it. X squared times 3x squared gives me 3x to the 4th. 1 times 3x squared gives me 3x squared. X squared times 7 gives you 7x squared, and 7 times 1 gives you 7. So, okay, pay attention. I just highlighted those in red, so let's write those out. X squared plus 1 and 3x squared plus 7. And don't forget you have that x in front.
Okay, in this question, after you factored it, you're going to set each of these equal to 0. So there's one solution. It's going to go through the origin. You don't need to graph them, it's teaching you how to solve it. Set it equal to 0, subtract 1, take the square root. Remember, when you take the square root, you have a plus or minus. That's one thing. The second thing is the square root of negative 1 turns into I. So x equals plus or minus I. You have two complex solutions here. The second one, 3x squared plus 7. You'll subtract 7 from both sides. Divide by 3, and then take the square root. You have the square root of negative 7 over radical 3. The square root of negative 1 just becomes I out in front. The 7 over 3 is radical 7 over radical 3. We learned earlier in first semester you have to rationalize. You can have a radical here, so you multiply by this number, radical 3 over radical 3. You can change it by 1. You'll get radical 21 over 3. So your answer is x equals plus or minus I, radical 21 over 3. This is, again, two more complex solutions. What could it look like? This is an odd degree. You didn't have to graph this, but it's only going through one real solution there. All right, the scoring for question numbers 5 and 6. If you started to do the x method correctly, I gave you 2 points. If you correctly factored all of them, you would have gotten 3. 3.5 if all corrected and you factored and solved correctly, and then there might have been a mistake there for graphing or solving.
This is a factor, x minus 3. We're asking it's a factor, but x minus 3, and we're going to set it equal to 0. Everyone say set it equal to 0. If I set this equal to 0, x minus 3 equals 0, then how do I solve for x? Add 3. That means x is equal to 3. Okay, this is a big idea. X minus 3 is the same thing as x equals 3. You can say that again. X minus 3 is the same thing as x equals 3. It's kind of like a hamburger. It's the same thing as a burger. Okay? X equals 3 is the same thing as x minus 3. How do we use that? If I take this value, now I can put it in for every x value. And then we're going to figure out if the answer is equal to 0, then it's a factor. But if I have a remainder or a different number, then it's not a factor. Let's do that together. So f of 3 equals 4 times 3 to the 4th power minus 3 to the 3rd power minus 52 to the 3 squared. And this page kind of ran out of space, so it's a minus 35 to the 3rd power, or not 3rd, but times 3 plus 12. So all I did there was every x value we're putting in as 3. That's what I did. Alright, I'm going to pause here. I'm going to give you and your partner 60 seconds. I want you to simplify the rest, and then I'll call on you guys to help me with the rest. Ready, set, go. Brandon, 4 times 3 to the 4th power. What do we do first? Should I multiply or do exponents? Exponents? What is 3 to the 4th power? 81. Remember, the common mistake here is you could have done 4 times 3 is 12. It is not 12 to the 4th power. Brandon? Should I do negative 3 to the 3rd power? Remember, what do you do first? Exponents. So this is 3 to the 3rd power, which is what? And then you multiply by negative 1. What do you get? Negative. So you're doing 3 to the 3rd power
and then opposite that, which is negative 27. Julian, what do I do here? Multiply or exponents? Multiply?
No, exponent.
Exponents. Yes, we want to follow the laws of PEMDAS. Someone has created an order that helps us simplify. Julian, here.
Oh, what's
So? Positive or negative?
negative?
Noel.
I started it wrong. I didn't do the exponent first.
Okay, multiply for us now. Four times 81. And negative 52 times 9.
Negative 468.
Thank you. Selena? If I add all of those together, what did you get?
Negative 264.
Raise your hand if you got negative 264. Double check. One, two, three. Oops. 4 times x to the 4th minus x to the 3rd minus 52x squared minus 35x plus 12. And you're substituting in 3. Did I write it right? Negative x to the 3rd minus 52x squared. Good job, Megan. And we put in 3, negative 264. Alright. Raise your hand if you got that. Good job. Okay, now I want you to draw a sketch. Just like we did on last week's lesson. 20 seconds, draw a sketch. Release that, go. Draw a sketch, draw a sketch. Put your finger on the degree. Show your partner. Tell them what that means. Darian, what's the degree? 4 is correct. Is this even or odd? What does that tell us? Okay, evens do bounce if it was multiplicity. That has to deal with the parentheses and the number on the top. So this is more of an even degree polynomial. Where are the arrows? This is my question. Starts up, ends up. So if I draw something, I don't know, something like that. And then we've been working on x equals 3. This is my intersection. This is an order pair, 3, negative 264. Class, does that cross the x-axis? Yes or no?
No. Class, is this number equal to 0? No. So if it's equal to a different number, it's what?
Not a factor.
Not a factor. So 2 ways to explain to you why the answer is not a factor. It doesn't cross the x-axis, and this number is not equal to 0. Class, who knows my mistake? Yeah. Yeah. Right 3 down negative 264. But it's the same idea. Class, does it cross the x-axis? No. So that's the order pair 3 comma negative 264.
Notice when you put in x equals 3, you can do that for synthetic substitution or division. And when you do this, again, you are bringing down the first term, multiplying, add, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. Use a calculator, which one of you guys forgot. Remainder is negative 264. And however awarded the points, if you started the problem correctly, I give you 2 points, like knowing how to use the remainder theorem, but maybe you put in negative 3 there, that's wrong. 3.5 points, you don't answer the question yes or no is a factor with the remainder. And then 3.7.5 points if you just said yes or no, but didn't tell us about the remainder.
That's all for today, Rebels. Have a mathematical Monday.